The distress signal had been broadcasting for 3 cycles when Aliana first detected it. As the communications officer aboard the UES Resilience, she'd heard plenty of alien transmissions, but this one made her chest tighten. The Zathari, a peaceful species known throughout the galaxy for their botanical research, were screaming for help. "Captain James, you need to hear this," she said, routing the audio to his station. James leaned forward in his command chair, his weathered face creasing with concern as the translated message played through the bridge speakers. The Zathari colony on Verdant 3 was under siege by the Krell Syndicate, a pirate faction that had been growing bolder in recent months. "How long until we can reach them?" James asked. 4 hours at maximum jump speed, Aliana replied, her fingers already plotting the course. "Sir, the rest of the fleet is scattered across 3 systems. We'd be going in alone." James stood, straightening his uniform. "Then we go in alone, helm, set course, battle stations." The Resilience wasn't the largest ship in humanity's fleet, but she was one of the deadliest. Humans had only joined the Galactic Council 15 years ago, and the other species still hadn't quite adjusted to Earth being classified as a Class 12 death world, a planet so hostile that survival there required adaptations the galaxy found terrifying. Aliana watched the countdown timer as they approached Verdant 3. She'd studied the Krell during her academy days. They were predators, yes, but from a low-gravity world. Strong but fragile, fast but only in short bursts. They raided soft targets because they'd never encountered real resistance. They'd never encountered humans. "Dropping out of jump space in 3, 2, 1, the helmsman announced. The Resilience materialized in orbit above Verdant 3, and Aliana's screens immediately lit up with hostile contacts. 12 Krell raiders, their dark hulls bristling with weapons, surrounded the Zathari settlement domes below. "They're hailing us," Aliana reported. "Put them through," James said calmly. The Krell commander appeared on screen, a tall, mantis-like creature with compound eyes that gleamed with predatory confidence. "Human vessel, this is none of your concern. Leave now or—" "Or what?" James interrupted, his voice carrying the weight of a world where gravity was twice galactic standard, where toxins filled the air, where every creature evolved to kill. "You'll attack. Please do. Save me the paperwork." The Krell commander's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Foolish Deathworlder, you are one ship, we are many." "Yes," James agreed. "That hardly seems fair. Would you like to call for reinforcements?" Aliana suppressed a smile as she initiated weapons lock. She'd served under Captain James for 3 years and had seen this dance before. Humans had a reputation in the galaxy, one earned through evolutionary crucible. Where other species had specialized, humans had generalized. Where others had optimized for their environments, humans had survived despite theirs. The Krell opened fire first, as James knew they would. Their plasma bolts splashed harmlessly against the Resilience's shields, shields designed to withstand the radiation storms of Earth's Van Allen belts, the solar flares that had battered humanity's early space stations. What seemed like overwhelming firepower to the Krell was barely an inconvenience. "Aliana, target their weapon systems. Disable, don't destroy," James ordered. "Let's give them a chance to reconsider." Her fingers danced across the tactical console. The Resilience's railguns, weapons that used magnetically accelerated projectiles at velocities that seemed insane to species from gentler worlds, fired with surgical precision. In 3 seconds, 8 Krell ships lost their primary weapons. "They're attempting to flee," Aliana reported. "Let them," James said. "But send a message to the other 4. Tell them to land and surrender, or we'll demonstrate what our weapons can do when we're not being gentle." 20 minutes later, the Krell had surrendered. The ones who'd escaped would spread stories of the Deathworlders who fought with controlled ferocity, who showed mercy but demanded absolute compliance, who moved with purpose that came from surviving a world that had tried to kill their ancestors for millions of years. Aliana established contact with the Zathari colony. Their speaker appeared on screen, her bioluminescent petals pulsing with relief and awe. "Captain James, we sent our distress call to all nearby vessels. 14 species received it. You were the farthest away, yet the first to arrive." James nodded. "We heard someone calling for help, that's all that mattered." "But why risk yourselves for us? We have nothing to offer in trade, no strategic value." "You needed help," James said simply, as if that explained everything. And to him, to Aliana, to every human aboard the Resilience, it did. The Zathari speaker's petals shimmered with emotion. "The galaxy speaks of humans in whispers, of your death world, your endurance, your weapons. They say you are dangerous." Aliana watched James consider this, watched him think about Earth with its crushing gravity, its violent weather, its extinction events and ice ages and predators that drove humanity to develop persistence hunting, tool use, abstract thought, and an almost pathological tendency to pack bond with anything. "We are dangerous," James finally said, "but not to those who need our help, only to those who prey on the helpless." As the Resilience maintained orbit while galactic peacekeepers arrived to process the Krell prisoners, Aliana reflected on what made humans different. They weren't the strongest species, the Gorath had that title. They weren't the smartest, the Xylophenes held that honor. They weren't even the most technologically advanced. But they were the ones who showed up. They were the ones who ran toward danger when others ran away, who heard a cry for help and answered without calculating profit or risk, who had turned the nightmare of their death world into the strength to protect those from gentler places. The galaxy had begged for help. The Deathworlders had answered with devastating effectiveness and surprising compassion. And that, Aliana thought with quiet pride, was the most terrifying thing about humans of all.